Hey friends, what's going on? This is David Potts with Song Notes and a quick practice tip for you today. I'm going to talk about bar chord strength in your left ring finger. Okay, so why does this matter? Well, it matters if you want to play the A shape bar chord, right? So you might run into this when you're learning the B flat chord, right? Which is on the first and third frets. But that same shape, the A shape bar chord, can be used when you're playing the C chord in that position, or the D, or the E, or the F, or the G, right? So one shape can get lots of use, which is great, but the hard part is getting this ring finger bar strength up to snuff, right? So in this lesson, I'm going to show you an exercise you can do that's going to worry about just your ring finger. Okay, I'm not really going to focus on the index finger barring, separate videos for that. It's going to be about the ring finger, and it's going to be about barring the second, third, and fourth string, right? So if we are on the if we're playing a C bar chord, for example, we're going to try to do third fret on the fifth string, and then fifth, fifth, fifth on the fourth, third, and second thinnest strings, right? So that's going to be our C major bar chord, and this ring finger in particular is going to be barring fifth fret, right? Fourth, third, and second string. Fourth, third, second string, fifth fret. And let's kind of push them all down, and that can be tough, okay? And instead of just sitting here and trying to do the chord over and over and over again, I want to show you this cool little trick, right? So the trick is going to involve this pattern. And I'm going to show you a bunch of ways you can have fun and remix this pattern to basically have some fun little practice exercises you can do that will sort of passively develop the bar chord strength that you'll need to play that chord. So let's start off by looking at this shape right here. Okay, so this is going to be our home base shape for this exercise, right? So this is going to be the one on the far left here. Now, if you notice, I'm only playing the second, third, and fourth strings, right? The second and third, fourth thinnest strings, right? Now, you'll see that I don't have any frets in my diagram here. I have this X. The X is going to reference the fret that our ring finger is going to start on. So here I'm doing it on the fifth fret, just for your reference in this video, but you could do this on any fret, right? So the idea is you're going to do the ring finger on that fret, and on one fret higher, toward the top of the guitar, you'll do your middle finger in the third string and your index finger on the second string. So if I was to use the fifth fret as my reference here, it would be fifth fret, fourth fret, third fret on the fourth, second, and third string, right? So get comfortable with just those three notes, okay? Now what we're gonna do is on whatever your reference fret is, here it's the fifth for me, I'm going to basically keep my ring finger exactly where it is, but I'm gonna sort of push it down so it plays that same fret, but on the fourth, where it already was, fourth string, third string, and second string, okay? And the goal is to push them all down and get this clean sound. If you get any buzzing, what you're gonna wanna do is not do all three strings at once. Maybe just do the second and third string. Get those good, right? And when you can do those good, you're gonna have to practice them, but once you can get those, add the fourth string. Just try to get the clean sound for a second and release it. But then the first thing you can do is get comfortable going between this shape, the first shape I showed you, and the second shape. And then go back to the first shape, release, do the second shape, right? One more time. Okay, and I'm sort of finger picking here, but you could use a pick and just pluck the fourth, third, and second strings. But the next part of this, and this is where it makes the exercise a bit more reusable, is you can take that same second chord and just slide it up 2 frets, right? So here it's going to be the 7th fret for me, and wherever that sort of X is, basically it's going to be 2 frets higher than the X, right? So in this case it's 7th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret. Same with the ring finger. Now I can slide it back down, play those on the 5th fret, okay, and then go back to my home base. So now we have these 3 chords, right? This is the 1, 4, 5 in whatever sort of, whatever your root is. In this case, my root is a G. This is a G note, okay? So this is my G major chord. This is a C major. It's an inversion, but it's still based on the C major chord. And this is a D major, okay? So this is where you can start to have some fun. Okay, so but first thing I want to talk about though is how, again, you could remix this pattern and do it anywhere. For example, we could go up to the 10th fret, right? 10, 9, 8. So 10 would be my sort of X value here, right? To get mathy about it. Same pattern as before. Then we're going to bar on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string on the 10th fret. And then do X plus 2, plus 1 plus 2 is the 12th fret. And then back to the home bass, right? So you could do that for any sort of starting bass. Starting down on the 3rd. This would be going from a F to a B flat to a C to a B flat back to an F, and vice versa. So in the PDF I have for this lesson, I do show you some sort of reference chord names you can use. And that's helpful in this regard. Say you want to do a G, a C, and a D, and a C again, right? You could sort of interchange those with the open chords if you wanted. Right? G, C, D, same sound as this. And eventually, when you get your sort of chords worked out, you can do the full bar chords. Right? But again, if you want to get that ring finger practice, do these just the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. It's a great little exercise you can do. Now, what are some other things you can do? One little tip I'll talk about here is the idea of muting. If you're not comfortable with muting strings, what I'm going to talk about here is basically, notice my index finger is on the 3rd fret on that 2nd string, okay? Now I'm going to sort of let that index finger just lightly touch the thinnest string, the thinnest string, the E string. And when I play the E string, it's not making a sound because it's muted. So what that means is if I get my other fingers in position here, I can play that thinnest string and it's not going to make a sound. And that's nice because it basically allows me to sort of casually, comfortably strum the thinnest 4 strings, and I'm not going to get any sort of sound from that. You know, you got to be careful because if you push it down, it will make a sound, and if you don't push it down, it will make a sound too. But again, the idea is to give you a bit of leeway sometimes, especially when you have a pick and you just want to casually strum. It's not a big deal if you hit the neighboring strings as long as they're muted, right? So that's one little tip. Another tip is you can get all kinds of cool finger picking patterns going on here. For example, you could sort of do the 4th string and then strum the rest, right? You could also make up your own patterns. Maybe you could go 2nd, 3rd, 4th string, and then back to the 3rd string. Or maybe you could do some sort of, get your thumb alternating between the 4th and the 3rd string. And do that same picking pattern for each chord shape. My right hand is doing the same thing, even though I'm changing chords with my left hand. One other tip you could do also is basically practice doing that same bar, but instead of doing it with your ring finger, do it with your index finger. But make sure you're doing the same pattern as far as, you know, whatever your root note is, you do this 4th, 3rd, 2nd string in that initial pattern, and then whatever your root note is, you get your index finger on that note. So here is my root, this G. I'm going to bring my index finger down to play it, and then bar the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. Go up 2 frets, go back down, and then, you know, go back to that original position. Right, little tip there. This is going from a G to a C to a D, and then this is a G inversion as well. So this sounds like this, coming from the same 3 notes, just in a different order. All right, so basically that's a little exercise for you. And again, the whole idea is to get in some reps, get in some practice, getting this ring finger, getting some sort of barring practice, but doing it in a way where you're not just playing a chord in a mundane way, right? The idea is to basically change between some tonalities and have some fun. Because if you have fun, it makes the hard work sort of disappear. And at the end of the day, you're going to get some muscle development. And the next time you have to play that B flat chord, your ring finger will be ready to go, right? And again, this A bar chord shape can be reused anywhere on the fretboard, so it's a good one to have in your bag of tricks. But I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks to all of you who support me on Patreon. I hope you dig the PDFs I'm making. I put one up for this lesson as well to sort of give you those close-up pictures of the chord positions and what they look like and some cool things you can do when you're practicing them. So thanks very much for watching, y'all. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson. All right, bye-bye.